Welcome back. Many of us are preparing to head back to work, back into the office, but there's one family member who's not. They may not be anticipating the change, and that is your pet. They've become so used to having us around every day. So to help with your pets easing into that new normal, Hannah Sotropa from the Toronto Humane Society has come up with a plan. Hannah, it's so good to see you.
So good to see you too, Kelsey. I'm excited to chat about this topic because it's definitely timely and a lot of people are getting adjusted back to a new routine.
Oh, we sure are. In our house, separation anxiety, it can be a serious problem with pets. We're not just worried about their feelings, we're also worried about what they do with those feelings, often in destructive behavior patterns. So how do we deal with this? When should we start trying to curb this behavior?
So the best rule of thumb for anybody who's looking to get ahead of these types of behaviors and stop it before it turns into something more serious is to start right now. Proactivity versus reactivity is the bread and butter for dealing with separation type anxiety or dealing with a pet who's experiencing hyper attachment during this time. And so the rule of thumb is if you can start right now, get ahead of these symptoms, you're setting yourself as well as your pet up for success when you do have to adjust to a new routine or schedule.
Hannah, we've got some tips on our screen here, including things like working on increasing your dog's independence, gradually increasing the time spent away from the home. What's something easy that you could do for increasing that time you're spending away from home?
So you can absolutely start back at the baseline. The biggest thing is if you know you're going to be adjusting back to, say, an 8-hour shift, a longer shift, is you want to start small in smaller increments so that the animal doesn't feel the shock. If they are going from being with you 7 days a week full time to 8 hours on their own, that can have an adverse reaction in the animal and cause adverse behaviors. Like you mentioned, some animals will resort to destructive behaviors or vocality. They might also develop a house soiling issue. And so it's really important that you're noticing if this animal is getting triggered by your departures, and getting ahead of that will be starting as small as possible. For your pet, that might even mean 15 minutes. You go out for a walk on your own and you return in a calm manner.
Hannah, you know that setting up a space for them in the house is so important, and you call this an in-home sanctuary. Why do we need to do this?
So to touch on the destructive behavior an animal might engage in when you're gone, the in-home sanctuary is a positive coping mechanism for that animal. If you are able to make it comfortable and relaxed with lots of toys and a bed and an area where they can retreat to when they're feeling anxious, they're more likely to use that space when you're not at home. So as opposed to them becoming vocal, using destructive behavior, wrecking or damaging property, urinating or defecating in the home, if they know that they have access to that sanctuary, the likelihood of them utilizing it is going to be higher. And so we want to make sure they know when mom or dad or whoever is not home, I can go to this space and I can be, dare I say, comfortable without my family members.
We all know pets kind of have one person in the house that they get super attached to, but this might not always be a good thing.
That's right. So as much as we like to relish in knowing we are the chosen one or the favorite, it's really important not to encourage this. And one way you can do that is to even out the responsibilities across the board so that favorite person is not so favorite anymore. So the person who feeds the most, who walks the most, enriches and snuggles the most, you want other members of the house to take on some of those responsibilities and ownership duties. And by doing that, they know that even if you've gone out to work and other members are in the house, that they're still going to be provided with the essentials. They're still going to be okay and safe so long that they have their people around them. Again, we come back to the sanctuary as well. So even if their people aren't home, they still have the backup, which is that sanctuary space.
Hannah, we have a tendency as human owners to reward behavior that isn't necessarily the right behavior. So when they're feeling upset,
Yes.
we have a tendency to run over and want to ease their fears, but that can actually reinforce that bad behavior. You say to instead reward the opposite, reward the calm behavior.
That's exactly right. And it's very easy when an animal is engaging in attention-seeking behaviors such as nose butting or barking or giving you those sucky eyes, not to reinforce it. Something as small as providing eye contact to that animal or even offering no still could potentially reinforce that behavior. When we begin to understand that the animal is after our attention, attention is attention is attention. And so whether it's good attention or bad attention, it could be reinforcing. So getting inside of the mentality that any nose butting or any type of attention-seeking behavior needs to be completely ignored. And then when you see the behavior that you'd like repeated, that be calm, relaxed body language, independently taking retreat to their sanctuary room, that behavior needs to be caught and rewarded immediately.
Awesome tips to be able to start us on a track for success. Hannah, thank you so much. We're starting today with all of these tips.
That's right. Right now is the best practice you can do.
Awesome. It's so great to see you. Take care.
Likewise. Talk to you later, Kelsey.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.